Book 4, Stage 7, Lesson 107. Or so.
Or so.
The words or so mean about or a little more than. For example, I learned English for 2 years or so. Means I learned English for about or a little more than 2 years. So, what do the words or so mean?
The words or so mean about or a little more than.
Can you give me an example, please?
He earns 20 pounds or so a week.
Very good. Run a business, etc.
Run a business, etc.
Do you think you could run a large factory, or don't you think you could even run a small coffee shop? Do you think you could run a large factory, or don't you think you could even run a small coffee shop?
Yes, I think I could run a small coffee shop, not a factory.
Okay. Emphasizing pronouns. Emphasizing pronouns.
Emphasizing pronouns.
Leave out emphasis then.
Leave out emphasis then.
In the sentence, John washed himself, the word himself is a reflexive pronoun. But in the sentence, John washed the car himself, the word himself is not a reflexive pronoun because it is not the receiver of the action. The word car is the receiver of the action, an object of the sentence. The word himself could be left out and the sentence would still make sense. It is put in, however, to make what is said stronger, that is, to give it emphasis, and so it is called an emphasizing pronoun. The emphasizing pronouns are the same as the reflexive pronouns, that is, myself, yourself, himself, etc. Is the sentence John washed himself, in the sentence John washed himself, what do we call the word himself?
In the sentence John washed himself, we call the word himself a reflexive pronoun.
Very good, and why?
Because the subject and the object are the same person, that is, the doer of their action is also their receiver, which means the action is reflected back onto the door.
Very good. In the sentence, John washed the car himself, is the word himself a reflexive pronoun? In the sentence, John washed the car himself, is the word himself a reflexive pronoun?
No. In the sentence, John washed the car himself, the word himself isn't a reflective pronoun.
Very good. Which word is the object of the sentence? Which word is the object of the sentence?
The word car is the object of the sentence.
Could we leave the word himself out of the sentence? Could we leave the word himself out of the sentence?
Yes, we could leave the word himself out of the sentence.
Why do we put it in then? Why do we put it in then?
We put it in to make what it says stronger and to give it emphasis.
Very good. What do we call such a word? What do we call such a word?
We call such a word an emphasizing pronoun.
Very good. What are the emphasizing pronouns? What are the emphasizing pronouns?
The emphasizing pronouns are myself, yourself, himself, herself, etc.
Very good. Give me 3 sentences containing emphasizing pronouns, please.
I remember very clearly because I gave him the money myself. People cannot usually repair their shoes themselves. They have to take them to a shoe repair. She always drove the car herself.
Very good. Do you believe in the expression, if you want a job doing properly, do it yourself? Do you believe in the expression, if you want a job done properly, do it yourself?
No, I don't believe in the sentence, if you want a job doing properly, do it yourself.
Why not?
Because I believe that you can rely on other people.
Very good. If a pupil can't answer a question during the lesson himself, who helps him with the answer? If a pupil can't answer a question during the lesson himself, who helps him with the answer?
If a pupil can't answer a question himself, the teacher helps him.
Very good. Sometimes we use an emphasizing pronoun with the meaning of alone, in which case we generally use the word by with it. For example, I did the translation myself emphasizes that the fact that I did the translation and not someone else, whereas I did the translation by myself means that I did the translation alone without help. So what's the difference between these 2 sentences? He cut the bread himself, and he cut the bread by himself.
The difference between these two sentences is that the first emphasizes the fact that he, not someone else, cut the bread. The second sentence means he cut the bread alone without any help.
Very good. Does this door shut by itself? Does this door shut by itself?
No, this door doesn't shut by itself.
Very good. Settle, settle. United Nations Organization, UNO or UN. Steer, forever, the Spanish, the Portuguese.
United Nations Organizations, UNO or UN, steer, forever, the Spanish, the Portuguese.
The word settle is one of those difficult words which has all kinds of meanings and uses. Here are 6 of them. 1. To pay. If you don't settle your bills when you ought to, what happens? If you don't settle your bills when you ought to, what happens?
If I don't settle my bills when I ought to, I might have to pay a fine.
Very good. Number 2, to end. If 2 countries can't settle a political problem, where do they go in order to settle it? If 2 countries can't settle a political problem, where do they go in order to settle it?
If 2 countries cannot settle their political problems, they go to the United Nations Organization.
Very good. 3, to go to the bottom. If you don't stir your coffee, what happens to the sugar? If you don't stir your coffee, what happens to the sugar?
If I don't stir my coffee, the sugar settles into the bottom of the cup.
What kind of things stir you the most? What kind of things stir you the most?
The kind of things that stir me the most are music, reading, a film, etc.
Very good. 4, to make one's home. To make one's home. Would you find it difficult to settle in a foreign country forever? Would you find it difficult to settle in a foreign country forever?
No, I wouldn't find it difficult to settle in a foreign country forever.
5, to colonize. To colonize. Who were the first Europeans to settle in South America? Who were the first Europeans to settle in South America?
The first Europeans to settle in South America were the Spanish and the Portuguese.
6, to decide. To decide. If I said to you that I was going to Australia next year, but that nothing had been settled yet, what would I mean? If I said to you that I was going to Australia next year, but that nothing had been settled yet, what would I mean?
If you say that you were going to Australia next year, but then nothing had been settled yet, you will mean that nothing had been decided yet for certain as to how and when you're going to settle.
Very good. Partly. Partly. Would you say that success in life was partly a question of luck? Would you say that success in life was partly a question of luck?
Yes, I'll say that success in life is partly a question of luck.
Chicken, brave. Chicken, brave. Can a chicken fly? Can a chicken fly?
Yes, a chicken can fly, but not very far.
Why does a boy sometimes call another boy chicken? Why does a boy sometimes call another boy chicken?
A boy sometimes calls another boy a chicken because he thinks the boy, like a chicken, is not very brave.
Very good. Beach. Beach. By the word beach, we usually mean the part of the shore which is between the high tide mark and the low tide mark. A beach is usually of sand or small stones made smooth by the sea. So, what do we mean by the word beach? What do we mean by the word beach?
By the word beach, we mean the part of the shore which is between the high tide mark and the low tide mark.
Tidy. Tidy. What does it mean to be tidy? What does it mean to be tidy?
To be tidy means to keep things in their proper place.
Idiom 10. Stand. Stand. To bear or suffer. For example, I can't stand that man. He drives me round the bend. Yes? So what does the idiom to stand mean? What does the idiom to stand mean?
The idiom to stand means to bear or to suffer.
Give me an example, please.
I just couldn't stand the way he shouted at everyone. I just had to leave.
Thank you. End of lesson 107.